Welcome to Let's Chat with Julie Lewin and the Cancer Talk series, where we delve into the triumphs, challenges and resilience of those touched by cancer, exploring stories of hope, healing and empowerment. I'm your host, Julie Lewin. Thank you for joining us. Well, hello and welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Julie Lewin. And today I have a very special guest, Kerry Duncan. Now, I have known Kerry for, Kerry, is it about 10 years?
It would be about 10 years. Time flies,
like
doesn't
that.
it?
Yeah. So Kerry and I have both been on a cancer journey, and we are both survivors and statistical outliers, as my good friend Vishal Rao says. So why don't I introduce you to Kerry? And here we go. Okay. So Kerry is a busy working mum, passionate about making the world a better place. And I'm right there with you with that one. She cares for her mum and her young son and works part-time as head of strategy and innovation for a small global organisation. And we cared for my mum too, so we have so many things in common. Kerry worked in the corporate world for over 20 years, travelling extensively, managing teams and large contracts. And she is passionate about health and well-being. And that's how I met you, Kerry, hearing about how passionate you were about that. And even more so after she had her cancer diagnosis almost 9 years ago. She loves to spend her spare time learning and sharing, and when time permits, updating her website. And I'll put the link for that in the description. And Kerry also runs a group called Connect, Share, Inspire, and is in the process of launching a new initiative called the High Vibes. And that's been created to help people living with cancer or any debilitating illness to live their best life. And it's about providing positive and practical tools to move someone through fear and stress and to reconnect with love, joy and empowerment. And that's the ambition. So why don't we get into having a chat, Kerry, because I know that we are both on the same page about this. So just tell us a little bit more about what's motivating you to do what you do, in your words.
Okay, what's motivating me? I feel this overwhelming urge to share, and I'm calling myself the reluctant sharer because I'd really rather not. I'd rather share about something business related or something safe. So I have to get over my own vulnerability. But I just know when I first got diagnosed almost 9 years ago now, the fear, the anxiety, and that still continues today off and on. And so how can I help people? I've been on my journey on and off, cancer had healed, it came back, it healed. It's back again. And it's like, okay, I've got to live my best life now. And I just remember how afraid I was. And so if I can help one other person, hopefully more than one person, it would make me just feel so proud. Because as you would know, Julie, it can just trigger so much fear in that black hole of despair when you feel completely powerless and hopeless. And I just think, why do we give our power away? How can we stop giving our power away?
Exactly.
And with those high vibrations of love and joy and gratitude. And that's when we just feel like we can do anything and we feel wonderful about life, compared to the other end where we're crippled by fear. And I've been in both. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
And it's about helping people. And I've really dedicated the last 2 years in particular, but really I've been passionate about health and well-being for well over a decade now. And I've learned so many magical things. So I feel like I'm just bursting with information I want to share. And I kind of assume everyone knows the same things, but they really don't. So how do we share simple techniques that can really pivot you and transform, so you're living a life where you feel fearful, and then very soon you can be living a life where you go, hang on a minute, I'm really going to feel empowered and tap into joy as much as I can, because the word cancer just scares the socks off most of us. And we've got to work a bit harder, I think, on this journey to really tap into feeling safe and then feeling joy. And that's what it's all about.
Exactly. And, I think I think what I'd like for people to get out of our chat is that we have evidence, like from when we're born, we have evidence of how we can make transformation in our body and in our life. And I think what happens when fear kicks in, we forget all of our evidence. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then what really disturbs me is when we go into that fear, other people feel the need to share their stories of fear, and it creates this vortex that we're just spinning in, that it affects every cell in our body.
It
And
does.
if we can make a commitment, it's about making a commitment to ourselves and a choice to actually not do that, and find what is the thing for each of us individually. And I know when I got diagnosed with cancer, I had just spent the last 10 years praying every night that I would die because my life was so awful. And that's really hard to say, but I think I was just living on the edge of my nerves, on the edge of whatever. It was challenging, and I used to just pray that I had the courage to put myself in a vulnerable position so that someone would murder me. And, you know, when I think back, I think, wow, Julie, that was a really hard time. And then when I got diagnosed with cancer, I suddenly went, oh, hang on a minute. Hang on. I've changed my mind. I want to die. There's something primal about being in this body. And I said, God, what do I have to do to live? And I heard this voice. It wasn't my thoughts. And it said, you have to meditate for an hour in the morning and an hour at night. So I did it. I did not deviate from that. And I worked for barristers at that time. You know, they're very not spiritual. One of them said to me in the lift, Julie, you look so happy, you look so well, you look so like you're loving life, but you've got cancer. And I looked at him and I thought, I wonder what I should say. And in the end, I decided to tell him the truth. And I said, I meditate every morning and night. And it's like this thing came down over his face. And he didn't want to know anymore. It was almost like, don't say anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's my go-to is meditation. So what's your go-to?
Look, mine would be, I love meditating, well, but really a big one for me is deep breathing. And I didn't realize there's so many ways of breathing because I've learned some in my Qi Gong, but everything from, in Qi Gong, this beautiful visualization where you breathe from every pore in your body. So you're breathing in this amazing, beautiful light.
Yes.
And you're exhaling out anything doesn't serve you. So it can be like, they talk about butterflies and breathing out dragonflies, or it can be black smoke. But from every pore in your body, so any cancer, any disease, any sort of blocks in your body, you just imagine them coming out of your entire body, and you can start to feel your body sort of tingling.
Yes.
So I love that.
Yes.
Love that. And there's another one where you do breathe, belly breathing, which you know about, because and belly breathing, then breathing right to the top of your head and breathing down to the ground to really anchor you. So I find that really calms me. And something I just learned and probably was reminded of actually yesterday was, when you get stressed or triggered, you just breathe it really strongly up from the earth into your belly, let it expand.
Yeah.
Hold it for a second and then just breathe back into the ground. So all that stress and anxiety. And so I went, wow, that's just so simple, but I'm going to keep doing that. So I actually did it this morning when I got triggered by something. And I just went, wow, that's great. The other one, because of course, just before we got breathing, is most of us shallow breathe, don't we, all day, especially when we're stressed. So our body is only getting maybe our lungs might even be filling up 20, 30% of this whole amazing capacity. And then we just can't operate properly. You know, our cells haven't got the right level of oxygen, etc. So it's simple, but so important. So I stop often during the day, Julie, and just do some deep breathing, even if it's for a couple of minutes. So I love that. Love that.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what you just said, even if it's only for a couple of minutes,
Mm.
and if you add up a couple of minutes throughout the day, you're actually resetting yourself. And when I studied for stress management, what I learned was that the body heals itself in homeostasis, which is when you're in the relaxation response. And when you're in the stress response, which is fight, flight, fear, fawn, flop, so there's all these different ways that the fear presents itself. And I thought, okay, so really we just have to keep resetting ourselves. It's almost like the autonomic reset in our being is being overridden because we're presented with so much triggers and things that put us back into that fight flight response, that we're not having that opportunity to be healing throughout the
Mm.
day.
Mhm.
And so with doing that breathing, the 2 minutes of breathing, you're resetting consciously. It's like, no, we're not doing that. We're just going
Mm.
to do this. And
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it does it resets your system because you can feel it.
mm,
And it's all, you know, when I was really busy working in a corporate world, and it was, when I look back now, I go, oh my goodness, it was really stressful. But I thought that was quite normal. I'd have multiple suitcases lined up because I'd be up in Sydney one day back, and I might go to Queensland the next day. And so, well, I was just running on adrenaline a lot.
yeah,
And I thought that was quite normal. And I thought, you just feel like nothing's ever going to happen to me. So I just took my health for granted,
mm,
really did. And so now I realize I wasn't giving myself time to really relax properly. And
yeah,
so I take that now. It's just like, instead of, and emotions and things that would happen during the day, just kind of shove them in your body. I'll deal with that later. Go back into your headspace, thinking, analyzing, strategizing, quick catching up with everything, an overwhelming diary. And so what I've been doing the last few years, I think, is almost compensating that I've let so many emotions go through my Qi Gong work. You know,
mm,
there's one, just do your hands above your head and you're just lightly bouncing. And I can't tell you, Julie, the amount of grief that came out of my body. I was like,
right,
why am I crying? Sometimes I would know, sometimes I would have no idea.
yeah,
I just let it go. I was like, okay, I've had all these emotions shoved in my body for so long. I'm going to let them out and
yeah,
just feel relief when they've gone. And so that, honestly, I was kind of shocked by how much grief came out, and lots of memories from the past. But what
yeah,
I did was just say, I'm going to let them go. I'm going to just feel the emotion and let it pass like a cloud passing over my head, and not try and switch on and get myself distracted, because who wants to feel like that, right? You don't want to go back and revisit those feelings, but
no, no,
letting them pass, I let them out of my body. So
yeah.
that felt so healing, or that does feel so healing to me.
And do you feel lighter?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I think that we're all wanting to come back to the lightness of our spirit,
Mm.
of our essence. And it doesn't matter what physical weight we carry, it's actually about how our essence feels within that body.
Mm.
And that's what I mean by lightness.
Yeah, I
And
love.
that light feeling is how you tap into joy and how you tap into the awe and wonder. And I talk about awe and wonder a lot, because we can have awe at, like, I'm looking out my window now and the clouds are moving so fast, and they're big white fluffy clouds, and they're like moving very fast actually. But I'm in awe of how fast they're moving, how fluffy they are. And then I'll look up again and that cloud that was there a few minutes ago, it's gone.
Mm.
And it's if we expect awe and wonder in our life, we will get awe and wonder. And
Absolutely.
awe and wonder, I believe, has a physiological impact on us. Have you
I
found
agree.
that?
Absolutely. In fact, the feeling I keep chasing, you know, when you get into a beautiful meditation and you really feel, you forget about your body, you really connect with some
Yeah,
divine, the universe, God, whichever word you like to use, and it is the most beautiful feeling. And sometimes I can connect into that, and sometimes I can't. But I'm always chasing it. I feel like I would spend all of my day in that space and or reading about healing but that you're right, that awe and wonder
yeah,
when you get into your mind telling your stories and worrying about when I think about myself in particular, things I worry about, it's so trivial sometimes, and you can get all
yeah,
that out of the way. And you're right, you spend time in nature and you just realize how beautiful the world is and how magnificent things are.
yeah,
And like you, Julie, I love taking photos. I know you do it beautifully of, flowers and right up close in nature.
yeah.
And there's a whole world in there that we don't even
There is.
realize. Stop and take the time. And so when I get into that space, I'm so blessed. I live near the beach, so I often go for a walk down there. And no matter how I'm feeling before I go, but once I go for a walk and start looking at the trees and the ocean and birds, it just transforms me every time.
Yeah. So I want to come back to the cancer because you recovered.
Mhm.
How did you insource that part of your journey? Like, I know, like, I went to hospital, I had surgery, I had it cut out, and in my mind, I don't have cancer anymore. That's it. Like, that literally was my perspective.
Mhm.
And I also realized that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and not getting enough sleep, um, trying to fix everyone else and not process my own emotions. I was like you, I just pushed it down until, I rotted the insides in my body because I wasn't dealing with what was happening on a day to day basis. And I just was like, no, I can't, no, haven't got time for that, or no, don't want to open that door.
Mhm.
But when I got diagnosed with cancer, I just went, no, I'm opening that door, and I started working on myself for real.
Mm.
What was your journey of the inner work like?
Well, probably similar. It does. That's one blessing about cancer. It does force you to look at your life and go, okay, I need to make changes. My body's telling me something's not working big time. So after my first go with cancer, I was shocked, devastated. I thought, oh my gosh, I have been sleepwalking through life. I've been
Yeah,
doing conditional happiness. I'll be happy when I have this and that and that. And I'm waiting for my life to begin. So I was shocked. I was like, oh no, I haven't really started yet.
yeah,
And you're telling me I've got stage 4 cancer. Oh my gosh.
mhm,
Anyway, so I ended up getting on an immune boosting trial and everything disappeared in my body. But I've got to tell you, Julie, I was reflecting the other night. Before I got the result to say everything was clear, I did this meditation in the sunroom just next to me. And I had this most amazing experience where I really felt like I was connected to the divine. And I finished this meditation. I think it was just a one on insight time, and I cannot remember which one it was. And I just had this knowing that the cancer was gone. I was like, it's gone. I just know I'm better. But then my mind started, how do you know that? And, but I just had
yeah.
this
Knowing.
knowing inside of me. And sure enough, it was completely gone. And I thought
Yeah,
everyone in the trial was gone, but it turned out that they hadn't. When I found that out later on that it hadn't, it triggered me. And then, what do you mean the trial didn't work? It wasn't successful. And then it came back again.
yeah,
So I realized
that's
stress.
fascinating.
I
Like,
know.
I'm absolutely fascinated by that because that's the power of the mind, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
That's
you were
amazing.
clear,
Yep.
and then you find out, oh no, the trial didn't work, and then you went, what?
Mm.
And then the frequency came back, and it's frequency. Would you agree?
Energy and frequency,
Yeah.
vibration. Absolutely.
And so you unraveled.
I did.
Yeah.
And I knew I was doing it and I couldn't stop. And you talked before about you forget the things, you forget the techniques. Well, that was it. I felt like I had no control of it in a way.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, but I couldn't kind of stop it. I'd try and stop it, and then it would come back. And so this was like this primal fear, and yes, and because I was actually wanting to start a series on, like something like the High Vibes Club. I didn't know what it was going to be called. And every time I started to do that, I got more and more fearful. So I just had to let it all go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's like the placebo effect. I always think that's amazing that people can go on
Yeah,
placebo.
let's talk about that.
Yes, and they can heal from something because they think they're on drugs. So that just really highlights the power of the mind, doesn't it? It really does to me. And that's what happened with me effectively. The reverse placebo. I was like, oh, my lifeline wasn't there. Oh, I couldn't have healed myself. It didn't work. So therefore, quite quickly it came back.
Wow. Like, that just blows my mind. And then you went into remission again.
So that was so I had to have surgery because it disappeared when I was on the immune boosting. It came back, a tiny bit came back, and I had to have an operation. Then it was cancer-free again. And I was like, this is great. Life is fantastic. And then that's when the more recent one that happened 2 years ago, that's when I found out that when I was trying to help a friend of a friend, and I found out, oh no, the trial was considered abandoned because there was very mixed results. And Kerry, you had the best result.
Right.
And that's when it started to spiral. So now I'm 2 years in, but I actually feel fantastic.
You look amazing.
Yeah, I feel great. And I'm off all the drugs and things at the moment. I'm waiting for results, so I can get triggered. It's like, oh my gosh, there's a result coming soon.
Yeah,
but I'm doing all my work and I'm feeling fabulous. And do you know what I realize? We give, again, I'm probably saying the same thing, but we give so much power away to the test, to the this, to the that.
Yeah.
And I just want to bring it all back in. So one of the best techniques that I've been really using that I love, Julie, that may help others, is remembering that I'm a spirit having a human experience. And when we go into a room or anywhere that we feel stress, our energy just goes just splats all over the place. And you're looking at people and you're worried. So what I do now, and it was inspired by Dr. Sue Morton, is just take my energy back. So I'm going to just take it back and I'm going to look through my eyes. She calls it as your soulful self. So looking through my eyes, but as Kerry, who's contained all of beautiful energy and is looking out. Well, the difference is amazing for me. So I can walk around going, you know what, I'm not giving my power away to these people I don't even know. I'm going to take it back and just look out at the beautiful world and look out at these amazing people I can see without feeling powerless, if you like, or depleted. So it's taking it all back in and walking around like that as much as I can each day is fabulous. I have a great day doing that.
That's amazing. Now, I have a physical thing that you can do that does that as well. Like it's incredible. And it's the tip of your tongue. Have I taught you this? Like we have our two front teeth, then there's a little bit of a ridge, and then there's a little dip, and then there's the roof of the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
In that little dip, it's very sensitive, and when I put my tongue there, I actually feel all my energy in my body. And so what that does, and you can test this with kinesiology, it locks your energy into you and it's not leaking out to all those people in the room. So that's something that you can physically do as well as harnessing your energy back with your mind. And so together, you're keeping your energy. So I haven't got a drawing, but you know how they say that the energy is, and we're in the middle like that, the energy is circling around on both sides like that. What we're doing is, instead of it leaking out, we're keeping it circling within us.
Flowing, beautiful.
Flowing
like that.
within us. And so we're not losing our life force.
Yeah, love it.
Because that's what it is, isn't it? It's our life force.
Absolutely. And we're giving it away so easily when we're not conscious about it. And that just reminds me, in Qi Gong, there's a lot of exercise you do where you put your tongue on the back of the teeth, exactly as you just described. And the reason is it connects both sides of the body. That's what they say. So it's really getting you into harmony, into balance. So I've forgotten all about, that's a really good one. I'm going to add that into my collection now to do that
Yeah.
the physical,
And
imagining taking it back.
there's another one with putting the tips of your fingers. So not like that, but actually the very
Right.
like that. And if you do that, you can feel your energy come back to you and then go like that. And can you feel the difference?
You can. Yeah, it
Yeah.
feels really good, doesn't it?
And what I noticed, and I noticed these sorts of things, some people, when they're being interviewed on TV, they sit there like this. And basically what I'm presuming, and I know it's a presumption, is that they're locking their energy in and making it hard for the interviewer to penetrate. And the other thing is that when you can lock your energy, like psychic intuition is a mechanism available to everyone. Like everyone can do it. Everyone gets hunches, everyone gets intuition, everyone has ahas. Like it's not for the special privilege. Everyone can do it. But if you're locking your energy, then your thoughts and psyche is actually locked. It's not available for people to tap into.
So it's like protecting yourself? Is that what it's like?
Yeah, absolutely. That is protecting you.
So fingertips together, thumbs
It
together.
actually has to be like tip to
That shape.
tip. Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Love it. Okay.
Can you feel the difference?
You can. Yes, it's subtle for me, but
It
it's
is subtle.
still stronger. Mm.
You can actually feel your body more.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It connects you into yourself.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, just connecting with self. I used to yoga quite a bit in the past, but I haven't been doing it for a while. And again, I've just been doing some basic stretches and, bends and maybe downward dog, some basic things. And I must say, yoga or any kind of stretching is so good. Qi Gong's great for this, just taking the time to feel your body.
Yeah.
Because when we live up in our headspace and we're so busy running around, which I did for many, many years, you're almost, it's all about your head, and rather than just going, let me just reconnect with the real essence of me.
Yeah.
And that feels really powerful as well. So just when you're walking or any kind of exercise, in Qigong, we talk about walking through nature and having your hands open so you're collecting energy as you go. So just being mindful of that. Yeah, it just feels really beautiful. They're little subtle things, and of course, looking at the different types of green in nature and the different colors, and it kind of heightens a really already beautiful experience. So we're collecting Qi, universal intelligence, as we walk along and harvesting it so that when we get home, we've got it in our body ready for when we really need it. So there's so many exciting things to do.
I know. Can you see me getting excited? I just had a memory of one of the retreats that we ran, and I don't know if it was on yours, but have you done that thing? You would do this with Qigong where you're gathering the Qi in your hands, and then you bring it in and feel the density of that energy. Absolutely. And then you harness some more and you make that ball bigger, and and then when you've harnessed it, what I was taught is you put your head forward and then you tip it into the crown of your head and feel it come all the way down through your body.
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yes, absolutely. There's one, so I've never done the head one. That's a great one. I often put it in my heart space or down in your belly button. In Qigong, this spring forest one I do, your belly buttons, behind your belly button is where they say is like where you store a lot of your Qi. And so that's really meant to be this magical spot to store it. Every different discipline probably got a slightly different variation on that. So you put your hand across your belly button and you breathe in there, and then you take it up to your heart space and breathe it through your whole body. So I think what I love about you, Julie, is that you do a lot of this work intuitively. Like you've got I was listening to one of your your beautiful, I put that, they're not meditations, what do you call them? Like the pyramid nanometer one last night.
Yeah, I call them templates.
Templates.
It's specific visualization. Yeah.
I've forgotten how beautiful they were because, and again, forgetting about them, but I just went, oh, I love this. And I know how you've created so many of them.
Yeah.
I suppose anyone listening to this, get in touch with you, Julie, to, get access to some of the beautiful visualization templates you've got, because I went to bed in one of those chambers that you were talking about, and
Yeah.
it felt really fabulous. So
It does.
yeah, they're magical.
Yeah. There's some on Insight Timer. I should put that
Right.
link in the
Yes.
description. There's quite a lot on Insight Timer. And so basically that's the world that I live in my imagination. And I think we've lost the art of imagination because we've got screens. We're tapping into other people's imagination. So collectively, I think imagination is down because we're tapping into other people's vision of, or I can't even think of the word, what they think that it should look like.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And I think part of it is we don't allow ourselves. If someone, and I'm sure you've done this work, but if someone said to most of us, tell me what the perfect world looks like to you, what does your future look like? What would you love to happen? They probably wouldn't even really be able to articulate it in a really big way, because I think we stop ourselves from dreaming, because it's like we get stuck in the past. This is what's happened, so we restrict our thinking, or we get stuck in the now, and now's a great time. But if we get stuck in we worry about the future, and stress about or regret things we've done in the past, we're in this terrible cycle. So I think
a cycle. It's like groundhog.
Absolutely. So we think the same thoughts most days rather than allowing ourselves. And I'm going to say, in some ways, it's a privilege, but it's also maybe an obligation we have to ourselves, is sitting down with a blank piece of paper and going, what would fabulous look like? How do I tap into more of those joyful feelings and all those wonderful feelings and really be able to express myself? What would that look like? And to actually write it down, then have the time to imagine how that would feel. And that's kind of part of that manifesting thing that I'm also very passionate about.
Yeah.
So I know if we keep thinking the same thoughts, we get the same results. But if you can put yourself in a different thought process, and that's what it would feel like to be completely healed, and that's what it feels like to win Tatslot, or whatever the things are for you, I think we can really go a long way in creating the life we want.
You know what, Kerry, you just sparked something that I feel is really important. If we keep thinking the thoughts that we've thought, we'll always get what we've always got. Now, from the perspective of, let's say our listeners have cancer or another disease or illness, you can go to the doctor. Yep, they can cut it out, which is what both you and I have had.
Yes.
You can go to a healer. You can go to a practitioner or a therapist. You can go to someone external from you, and they might be able to give you some relief. But if you keep thinking the thoughts that you've always thought, you are going to regress back to where you were, because you're going to get what you've always got. And that's absolutely the key, is you actually have to do the inner work. There's no avoiding the inner work, because no one outside of you can make changes to the inner you. Only you can do that.
Yeah, you can't outsource it all, can you? You can exactly. People can help you and guide you and inspire you, but there's no avoiding doing the work to heal yourself in lots of different ways, not just physically, mentally, spiritually. You've got to get in and do the work, and it's so rewarding. It can be hard. I think it can be hard, and you think, how many layers of this thing going on, but it's so rewarding. I feel so different to how I felt 10 years ago.
Yeah,
I feel amazing. Do you know what I've been working on, Julie, just on the same thing, is self-love. Oh my gosh, that's been a massive one for me. And taking the time to say to my body, you are fabulous. Our bodies are spectacular, aren't they? When you stop and think what the cells do, and just heart beating every, second of every day, and, every organ in our body and our skin, etc. And we often look in the mirror, this is what I used to do. Oh, look at that freckle, look at that line there, look, and just you sort of base your whole self-value on how you look in the mirror.
Mm.
There's so much more to us. And I've really been working on this. It's like really appreciating the fact that I've got eyebrows, because, you know, the fact that I can move my arms and legs, just, I'm so grateful for the billions of cells that do their job every day. And so, and my immune system, thank you, my immune system. And that's some of my inner work too, really, and letting and forgiving myself for the gazillion things I perceive I've done wrong over my life so far. It's like having empathy for that. And I've got to say that's been transformational for me. That and gratitude have been probably the biggest things that's transformed my life.
Mm. Yeah.
Appreciating me, not in a aren't I great way, but in a thank you for always looking after me, and gratitude.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's writing gratitude, because someone said you have to write 5 things that you're grateful for every day. But then there's the full body experience of being grateful. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it's about being able to, it's the awe and wonder of gratitude, isn't it? When
That's
you
correct.
have that full body experience of what our body has, how our body is supporting us. And it's, I don't know if other people do it, but I know in the past I used to do this gratitude thing where I'll go, oh yeah, I'm grateful for my food, I'm grateful for my bed, I'm grateful for my home. And it was rote. I didn't feel it in my cells. Because when
Yes.
you feel it in your cells, you have a rush.
You're integrating it, aren't you? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
transformational. Can I
Yeah.
just share a really quick story about how
Yeah.
gratitude changed my life? It's in one of my videos in the High Vibe Club, which I haven't published yet, I will. But gratitude literally changed my life, saved my life. So like you, Julie, I was amazed by you telling the story about not wanting to live years ago. So about 17, 18 years ago, I think it was, I did not want to be alive anymore.
Yeah.
Outwardly, I was doing the, successful work thing, or, trying to give this persona. I didn't want anyone to know that I was so miserable on the inside. And all I could think about was what I didn't have in life. And it was just a cycle over and over and over and over. I look back now and I had so much to be grateful for, but I couldn't see it then.
Couldn't see it.
Went to my auntie's house and she had these angel cards. And she said, pick an angel card. And I picked up gratitude. I remember thinking, are you beeping, kidding me? I've got nothing to be grateful for. And I just went, oh, yeah. And she said, my auntie said, that's a great card to have. It means there's more gratitude coming into your life, or you need more gratitude. Well, driving home, I'm, swearing at the very concept, so resistant to it. I got home and I thought, okay, I'm going to try gratitude. So I was in bed and it was basically, my bed's comfortable. I've got a roof over my head. I've got a job. I've got a nice family. Thanks for it. But I couldn't feel it. It was just words were coming out, but it didn't feel anything. But I decided to do this morning and night. And I found myself in pretty short period of time, just during the day, I was finding things to be, oh, I'll put that on my list tonight, and that's going on my list. And the list went from, maybe half a dozen things to just, hundreds would rattle off. And I felt like a different person. And the great validation for me was a guy, Lou Major, who's no longer on planet Earth anymore. He was a former detective working in my team in property. And he said to me one day, Kerry, there's something different about you. I can't quite put my finger on it, but you are so different. I'll work it out. You're so different. And I didn't tell him because I was still in the middle of doing my, gratitude adventure. But that was so validating because he didn't really know anything about spirituality. What I realized, and of course now looking back, is that my whole vibration had changed, everything about me, because I was all day looking for things to put on my gratitude list. So, and then gratitude's magic. It just, the more you're grateful for and you feel it in your body, as you said before, the more it flows. So that changed my life from not wanting to live to, I'm so blessed. And that happened in, I'm going to say maybe 2 months, like maybe 6 weeks. It was profound, absolutely profound, Julie.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Tash said something to me the other day that we should share more about quantum entanglement.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, because I, as you said before, I do everything intuitively. Like I don't look for the science and then try to created. I do what I do, and then science validates. And I don't know a lot about quantum entanglement, but she said, Mum, those templates that you've created, there's quantum threads in there that are linking the holographic body to the physical body. And I went, yes, that's exactly right. So what you were doing, what I've been doing is working in the quantum with our imagination and bringing that into our physical realm, physically feeling the impact of our imagination. And I think that's the key. What do you think on that?
Absolutely. And it's so empowering. And it gives that, we were talking before about having the vision of a future. Instead of just thinking the same thoughts, having that space and that dedicated time to imagining something different, I think is just so profound.
Yeah.
It opens up to the universal intelligence, the quantum physics, you say. It's, yeah. And then I think, and this is part of the manifesting part that I'm exploring, is that the idea is that you envisage these things often enough and you're calling that into reality.
Yeah.
You become that rather than becoming the worry and the anxiety. And marinating in the possibility is just, I think, really powerful. Love it.
I think that marinating in the possibility is actually the key. And it's not futurizing. It's actually doing that quantum jump and bringing the future to now, the feeling of the future to now.
Yes.
And I remember I was at an event and we did this meditation. At the event, we were all standing up. We had to choose our word that we were going to bring forward. And my word was possibility.
Oh, I love that. That's a great one.
And it was, when the atomic bomb goes off, the mushroom cloud comes up, but then there's this frequency that moves across and it just shatters everything as it goes. And I just watched something on the TV the other night, watching that thing happen. That's what happened when I did that meditation. I could feel possibilities shatter resistance.
I love it. That's a beautiful visualization.
It was incredible. And I'm so glad that I got to remember that part of it with you today, because that's coming back into my present.
Yep, love it.
We can, what we do with energy is amazing, but we have to take action. We have to make choices. Have you found that you can think things, but you actually have to make a choice? Without
a doubt. Yes. Yeah. And that's the beauty though, isn't it? We get to make choices about what goes on up here in our brains. We can, it's natural to feel fearful and we can just stop that and go, hang on a minute, I'm going to think about something else. So I've got to reference Dr. Rick Hanson's work. He's a neuroscientist. His book, The Buddha Brain, I often think of this as another practice I have regularly. So he talks about if 10 things happen in a day, 8 are neutral, 1's positive and 1's negative.
Yeah.
What do we marinate in? We go to bed and we think about the negative thing.
Yeah.
And we forget about the beautiful thing that happens. And so he then suggests, well, if you think about the positive thing or the positive things in your life or the wonderful experiences for 20 seconds, you create a new neuro pathway. Yeah. And that's what I did with my gratitude. I was unaware of the science behind it at the time. So I actually now, and I have before, and I need to do it again, I get out a piece of paper or a journal and I write down things that I'm proud of in my life and things that I'm really about. And I forgot about so many things when I really made time to reflect. So instead I'll think about, I went back to uni when I was 30 and I was so nervous doing that. I ended up doing really well. Yeah. I'm just going to marinate in that part of me that was really brave to do that. And so what happens is a whole lot of inside my mind, I suddenly feel like, yes, I'm brave and I'm strong and I've done great things, rather than the fear. And so for me, that is so simple, so profound. Apparently, if you spend an hour doing it, you can almost double the neurons in your brain. Like, isn't that
Wow.
amazing? It's 20 seconds of thinking of something positive that you're proud of can transform the way you think.
So,
So I love it.
I didn't know about the 20-second thing. I thought it was 60 seconds. And
Okay.
when I had the relapse of cancer in 2011, 2012, and I grew another thing over here, I developed the pyramid technique or template. And I developed another one as well, where I flooded my body with 380 nanometers of light. And it was in like the only thing I could think of was a microwave, because when we press the button on the microwave, we don't know, we can't see what's happening to make the food heat up in 1 minute. Like, we can't see that. So I decided to put myself in the nanometer chamber, but it looked like a microwave. And I said to myself, if you can focus on keeping the line of the nanometer frequency straight for 60 seconds, you will change your body. And I did that for a year. And when I went back to the cancer clinic, they said, we don't know what you've done in the last 12 months, but you've reduced that nodule by 50% and your bloods are the best in 13 years.
Wow.
Just keep doing what you're doing. They did not ask me what I was doing.
Yes.
They didn't want to know, just like in and out, in and out.
Yes.
And so I did. I kept doing it. And then the next year I went back and they said, you've reduced it another 40% and your bloods are even better. Keep doing what you're doing.
Wow.
And then when I went back the next year, 2015, they said it's gone and your bloods are good. We're discharging you to your GP.
Wow. Amazing.
And so I was really happy about that. But then in 2020, so 2019, it was very stressful. And you know, when the fire started in 2019, that was really stressful because we were caring for my mum and she was on oxygen and she was really starting to deteriorate. And I was still traveling like you. I was doing a lot of traveling. I was traveling every month. And I knew she got really stressed when I was going away. And so I remember going to see her and I said, do you need to go to hospital? So that's when we started having to go to hospital regularly every few weeks. And I didn't realize that I was so stressed that I wasn't having any relaxation time. I got caught up in working, traveling, looking after mum, making sure that everything was working. And I decided I was going to run a retreat and launch my institute. And look, I went and had my normal checkup, ultrasound, but I didn't go back and get the results. And my doctor recalled me 3 months later. But the thing is, I knew that in the January, something's off, something's not working. So I started doing my templates again. By the time I went back in June to see him, he was all like, oh, you have to have nuclear medicine tests, you have to do this, you've got another growth, there's blood supply to it. And I just looked at him and I said, really? Do I have to do that? He went, oh, you don't want to do that? I said, no, I do not. He said, all right, let me just ring the radiologist and see what our next step is. And because it had been so long, the radiologist said, let's just do another ultrasound. In those months, I had changed it so that it was, oh, there's no blood supply. It's just a watch and see.
Wow.
And it's been like that since 2020, June 2020. And so what I took from that is stress is the enemy, if
Yes.
you want to call it the enemy. But stress is the thing that unravels the structure of your being.
Yeah, I'd say so I think stress in the short term is no problem. Don't worry about it. It's prolonged.
It's chronic stress.
Yeah, chronic stress, that's the word.
Yeah,
Because then your body doesn't get a chance to heal. And if I look back on when I got diagnosed, I just moved into a new house, started a new relationship. I was
exactly.
researching cushions for the couch at 2 a.m. I wasn't
Yeah.
sleeping. I was
Yes.
probably drinking alcohol because I,
Yes.
a new romantic relationship. And it was like and I just took my body and my health for granted. And then it was shocking to me. And I
Yeah.
put my body under too much pressure.
Yeah.
So sleep, getting short-term stress, don't stress about it, I would say to people, but it's just you want to get out of the fight or flight mode continuously. You don't want to be in that
Yeah.
space all the time. It's
That's
just turning
right.
it off. Give your body time to rest. It does, and do this visualization work. Wow, amazing things can happen, I think.
Yeah,
That's when you get
absolutely.
your power back. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we'll wrap up on that note, but we could talk for days. I know that. What's your one last thing that you want to say to people?
Yeah, just look, the High Vibes Club, I just wanted to mention it before I go, is to
Yes,
say that the whole reason for doing that is to share all these wonderful tips and techniques. I know, Julie, you said you would help out, but you would
absolutely.
be involved in some way. It's all about getting people out of fear into feeling empowered and feeling the joy again. So my message to people is just to find the inner work that works for you. And
Yeah.
this new group will hopefully help inspire you if you don't know what that is. And just live your life to the best you can. Life is short, even if we live to 100. Really, it goes
Mm,
so quickly.
yeah.
And how do you make the most of it so you can get to the end of your road, whenever that is, and just go, oh, I lived a great life. I'm really blessed. That's what I'd
Yeah.
love for everybody, to be their best self.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll put some links down below in the description. And it's been so good chatting with you, Kerry. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We could talk for a week. I'm so inspired. I love talking to you, Julie. Thank you. And all the wonderful work you do. Thank
Thank
you so
you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming in and tuning into this insightful episode of Let's Chat with Julie Lewin and our special guest, Kerry Duncan. And we covered off on a lot of things. And the thing that was really exciting for me was to share my insights with Kerry about the inner work, how the inner work is absolutely crucial to our recovery and to our wellness and our well-being and our vitality. So I hope you learned something very important from what we've shared, and that you can take one little thing home with you and keep doing that every day. It's you making a choice that is going to make the difference. And if you enjoyed the episode, please like and share wherever you listen. And if you know someone or you have something to share or there's a topic that you want us to chat about, please let us know, because we will make sure that we get to do that. And thank you for listening again. And remember, the journey of self-discovery does not stop on the airwaves. It continues. So until next time, may you find courage, peace, and magic on your unique path. See you. Bye.